We're live.
The Helotes Board of Adjustment is meeting for a special meeting today, Friday, May 24, on 2024 at 7. It's an open meeting subject to the open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Call to order. Do we have a confirmation of the quorum? Elizabeth Mendez and Brian McKee and Todd Compton and Bob Logue. We're all here. Our fifth member is having recused himself from this matter. So we have confirmation of a quorum. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's also honor the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, so we're here as a public hearing to give all interested persons the right to appear and be heard on a request by Daniel and Juanita Stewart for a variance to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 9.8, zoning, Section 98-62, to add on to an existing non-conforming garage built beyond the front line of the home that would encroach on the platted front yard setback of 30 feet and encroach on the required side yard setback of 25 feet. On a single family residential zoned lot located at 10309 Rafter S Trail, Helotes, Texas 78023, and described as Bexar County Appraisal District Property ID number 242691. First step is we're in open session and we'll go ahead and open to citizens to be heard.
So, Mr. Logue, nobody signed up to speak.
Okay. All right. Then at this point, we can go ahead and close that. I do want to take this moment to recognize all of our new board members, Elizabeth Mendez, Brian McKee, and Todd Compton. We don't get together that much and get to know each other, but I'm very glad you all are here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So the agenda item is discussion of an action on a request by Daniel Stewart for a variance to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 9.8 zoning, Section 98-62, subparagraph accessory buildings, associated living quarters, and storage buildings, authorizing an encroachment on the required side yard setback of 25 feet to any side property line, and an encroachment of the platted front yard setback of 30 feet on a single family residential zone lot located at 10309 Rafter S Trail, Helotes, Texas 78023, more particularly described as Bexar County Appraisal District Property ID number 242691. And what I'm seeing in here is under the executive summary, the subject property is a 0.88 acre single family residential zone lot located at 10309 Rafter S Trail in Helotes Parks subdivision. The owner plans to expand the dimensions of the existing detached garage, which would then extend into the side and front yard setbacks. The building official has disapproved the detached garage addition for the site plan provided and has determined the addition to be encroaching on the required side and front yard setbacks. Under Section 98-62, subparagraph accessory buildings, associated living quarters, and storage buildings, it dictates that there shall be a side yard setback of 25 feet to any side property line, except a detached garage or other accessory building located 70 feet or more from the front property line shall not be located nearer than 5 feet to any side property line. A front yard setback shall be a minimum of 40 feet, except in areas platted where setback minimums are established prior to the effective date of this chapter. The platted front yard setback for this property is 30 feet. The owner submitted a variance request to allow the proposed addition to the detached garage on both the front and side yard. The owner cited that the home has an existing garage, but requires it to be enlarged for additional parking and storage. The addition to the detached garage will be a safer alternative and allow the owner not to have to back out into traffic. The existing garage is 648 square feet, and the proposed addition will bring the garage to 1,096 square feet. For the applicant, the ceiling height to the existing garage is 8 feet, and the proposed addition will have a ceiling height of 10 feet. Total height of the structure will remain under 35 feet, which is compliant with code. For the applicant, the circular driveway will be added at a later time. The applicant is also trying not to disturb the current side yard vegetation in the process. Okay, so is the applicant here? Rosa? Okay. If you could come on up, state your name and your address. And
Yeah, my name is Daniel Stewart. I live at 10309 Rafter Trail in Helotes.
Okay.
And I've been a resident here for 30 years.
Okay. And so talk to us about your project and your application for variance.
Okay, so you can see here on the graph is the proposed addition in green. This is an old subdivision. This house was built more than 40 years ago. And so we've got some more slides coming here that I could show you, but the proposed addition, that's the only location I can put it. You can see the lines there that show the slope variations. So these were the first houses that went into Lotus that were on sloped lots. So most of the houses in this area have garages out front. In fact, in my immediate neighborhood, there's about 27 other houses in the same way. So it's kind of like we're applying a newer ordinance to an older neighborhood. So there isn't an option for me to have the garage behind the house. It was there when I bought the house. The backyard slopes off terribly, and there's no access on either side that you could pull a vehicle behind. So any addition to the garage would have to be out front. The reason that I'd like to have that is to extend my driveway as shown. It's a safety situation. As we'll see in a few minutes, when there's a few cars in my driveway, the only way out is to back out. And with the increase in traffic now that we're seeing on Rafter Trail, in fact, you can see it here. So there's the house and the garage. And it's kind of a long driveway to the garage. It's a poor design. If there's a vehicle inside, this is a good one to look at. You can't even get the vehicle out. So I want to move, say, the car with the cover into a garage space. That would allow the other vehicles to go out and pull on Rafter S forward. But backing out now is very dangerous. So that's the existing garage today. I've added a few rocks for a little bit more parking, but the proposed area would be off to the right. I try to keep the yard as natural as possible. So in doing this project, I'll remove as little greenery as possible. And you'll see in an upcoming photo that, or maybe it's in here, that the view from the street, you can't even see my garage. And that's why I intend to keep it. So this is the garage addition that's being proposed. It starts there at the door. It's a 16-foot width. I have several classic cars and old motorcycles that I can't seem to let go of. And the situation I have now is just untenable. The cars and bikes and lawnmowers and things are on top of each other. And my only storage is a pull down door, which can never be used because there's always something in the way. So I've hired an architect. We did this addition. In fact, I looked at the original survey for this property, and it didn't look like it would encroach at all on the side. But we couldn't be sure because from the old survey, the garage was not tied to the plat. So I went ahead and spent the money and had a proper survey done, which came out at 0.88 acres. So I lost a little acreage in the process, but I've really self-identified this encroachment on the right of about a foot. You know, that's open to interpretation. The front of this property is all a curved road. There's a 25-foot setback of the property to the road. And so the side setback there, it looked like from the original survey it was clear, but when I had it resurveyed, it infringed a foot. So that's one of the requests. And then the other request is the 40-foot building setback. Mind you, that's for a house, right? So this garage is an accessory building, you know, and there is no setback for an accessory building in the Helotes code. But again, when these houses were built, that's the only place to put the garage. So that 40-foot setback would normally be for the house. Of course, the house is well behind it. The 30-foot setback was in rule, I guess, or in back when the house was built. So you can see I'm infringing on that about 4 feet, but by area, it's about 4%, 3% of the garage area. So it's a small amount, but it's a very important area to me, or I wouldn't have spent the thousands of dollars to show up here today. If I have a car there, I want to be able to walk a motorcycle past it. So I tend to do this modification, keep as much greenery as I can. The rest of my lawn is all natural. I think it's a very minor request compared to other things that I can show you here in the neighborhood. So here you can see how much of the greenery I've kept. Even after the modification of the garage, you won't be able to see it from the street. Maybe go on to the next slide. That's the one where I've explained where we have to back out. It's then a steep garage, so you're backing out on a slope into oncoming traffic, and my driveway isn't visible at all from the road. Maybe next slide. So again, the garage and the space is just to the right of it, and that car, for instance, if it were parked in the garage, that would free up the space to make a driveway then to be able to pull out frontwards into Rafter S Trail. It's another shot of the same area. And is that all the slides that you had, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, that's just the concept design.
Yes.
The new part has a 10-foot ceiling, as we said. Is that your last slide?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a handout here with some attachment slides to give some perspective to this. So I just quickly drove through the neighborhood and counted the number of houses in my immediate area that had garages in the front yard, and there were 27 other garages in the same situation. So that's just due to the nature of our neighborhood and the steep slopes. There is no other place to put a garage. So that, you know, is why my garage is in the front yard to begin with. The next picture, it's not highlighted, but my property is this piece of pizza right here, this small triangle. And so you can see these are all very sloped lots and narrows. But if you just look at this,
I have that on the screen.
Okay. So yeah, the piece of pizza right there. But number one, if you look at this, there's 6 other houses that are non-compliance with 25-foot setback. The one right next to Monarch is just about on the property line. My next door neighbor's house has an addition to it. It's on my property line. There's a house, I don't know if you can point to it, Michael, at the top of the screen there, but yeah, to the right. Keep going to the right a little bit more. Right. Yeah, that one's right on the property line across the street from it. It's right on the side property line. So, and there's another one, Michael, that same right-hand side. There's 3 houses right there that, yeah, are on the property line. So I'm asking to be 23.5 feet from the property line. The 25-foot setback is there. And again, that's something I've declared because I had the lot surveyed and had it checked, and to the best of our measurements, I would encroach by a foot. So I've got a few more pictures in the handout that kind of describe the situation. One is my original survey. And I think this same code, is it 9632, I think, Michael?
Yes.
But this same code states that the 25-foot setback, but also states that the property should have a minimum width of 120 feet. And I got the short stick, I guess, when this neighborhood was laid out, because at the end of a piece of my pie, my property down there is only about 75 feet wide. And so if it would have been designed to code, I probably would not be encroaching on that 75-foot setback. But anyhow, that's the original plat. When I designed it with the architect, it looked like it would fit. And then, you know, he said it's not tied, your drawing's not tied to the pins. So I went back and paid for the survey, and that's where I came up with the 1 foot encroachment. The page after that is the view of my garage from the street. So you can see I like the privacy, and in adding to the garage, that should be the same view. None of those trees will be taken down. I'll only be taking down a cedar tree that's in the way. And, you know, I propose to keep it so that people on the street won't even see the addition. The next slides talk about the safety issues. So that's Circle A trail. It's a long one. My driveway is kind of highlighted in yellow in the middle. But in backing out of that driveway, I'm backing out into traffic that either comes up Circle A trail and turns left, or is coming down Rafter S, this one right here. And so an F-250 that comes around here and hits it when I'm pulling out, my life's in danger and my daughter's lives are in danger. So I've got to configure that driveway so we're pulling out facing forward so we can look left and look right before backing out. And as you know, that traffic through there has increased dramatically with all the development on Barrendara Road. People are making that cut through to come down Monarch and go out Scenic Loop. The next slide is just approaching my driveway. You can see my driveway is just beyond that, but it's completely blind. And so again, when I'm backing out, it's a danger. This is the next slide is a view from further up Rafter S Trail. So it's not only people that are coming up Circle A, but vehicles that are coming down Rafter S. There used to be a slew of police that used to hang out up there. I haven't seen them in quite a while, but there are a lot of people that speed by there, and it's dangerous to try to back out. The next slide is if you're actually at my driveway pulling out, you can't see around the corner. So again, making a circular driveway, entering Rafter S further up, I have the opportunity to look left and look right when I pull out. The next slide is a slide of another garage that happens to be next to my house. This is a garage, a second garage that was put in about 10 years ago. And the entire garage appears to be about 25 feet from the street, which would imply that it's right on the property line. And so in comparison, my request, I think, is very minor. I'm asking to be 50 feet from the street, or more than 50 feet from the street. And it's only a tiny corner of my garage that would encroach on the 30-foot setback. But again, that's made really for the house structure, not for a utility building. The next picture is just another picture of that same garage showing it's parallel to the road. And I think there's a last picture. That's one of two garages that are in the front yard of that house. So the point of that is there's plenty of precedent in the neighborhood for garages and structures being in front of the house because of the layout, the geography. There's 27 other houses in my immediate neighborhood that I would say are infringing as much or more than the small request that I'm asking for. So with that, I'd ask that you please consider the addition that I'm talking about, which encroaches maybe a foot on the side setback. And again, the 30-foot setback is made for the house structures itself, but I am just a few feet within that, but still way away from the road. But in the name of safety and some more garage space and some storage, it's taken me a year to get to this point. I would greatly appreciate if you would consider my request.
Thank you. So I have a item I want to point out is, I'm sure you're well aware of this, that we have 4 out of our 5 members here. One of our members had to recuse himself from this matter. And in order for this request to pass, all 4 board members would have to approve this. I just want to make sure you are aware of that.
I was not. In fact, I think I asked that question.
Okay.
Because I was aware that Charlie Roberts had to recuse himself. So I asked the
Right.
question. Well, maybe I did ask the question. You said yes, that I have to have a unanimous.
Correct. It would have to be
Vote.
unanimous approval. So,
Yeah.
that's not a Board of Adjustment rule or even a Helotes rule. That's actually a state government rule.
Yeah.
Texas rule. So I want to make you aware of that, kind of what you're walking into, that all 4 board members present would have to approve that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate that, but in a way, it's just by chance that we happen to work in the same company.
Right.
So you're saying if he was here, it could be 1 no, and it
Correct.
could be passed. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, if that's the law, that's the law, but it doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, it's, I understand your feelings, I really do. But it's just something that we need to make you aware of.
Okay, yeah, so I did ask ahead of time because I was curious about that, and that's what's said, but obviously I feel very strongly about what I'm trying to do, so I'm moving ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Sit down, unless you had something more to offer, you're welcome.
Do you have any other questions about what it is I'm trying to achieve? It's first, the name is safety, my kids backing out of the driveway, and 2, that I request a little bit more space in my garage. I've looked at past agendas for this council, and I've seen where entire houses have moved forward towards the street 10 feet for some of the same reasons, geography and things. So I look at my request here, it's very minor, but just as expensive to get to this point. So appreciate your consideration.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I do have a question for clarity. You said that there are other homes infringing on it. So there are other homes right now existing that are going past that setback? Or not
Yes.
homes, garages, sorry.
Yes, in fact, the one that I showed in there is it's on the property line. So it's the entire facility is within the setback. And that was put in about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And just making the point that there's plenty of precedent, like that 2 wrongs make a right, but
Okay. Any questions?
I mean, the only question I had was, didn't we used to have it 30 or it's now 40 feet and it used to be 30 feet?
Well,
When was that?
when this property was platted, that's when it was platted at 30 feet. When code came into existence, that's when the 40 feet was set in place. So for example, anything new with code already being established has to meet that 40-foot.
Gotcha.
But this was platted prior to our code. And so that's why it's on the actual plat where he has a 30-foot setback as opposed to a 40-foot.
yeah. And that code really applies to the home structure, not even to the structure that I'm talking about. Because I read the code, and the code said for an outbuilding like that, one, it's not supposed to be there,
Correct.
but there is no setback for that outbuilding because no code was made for it, because it's not supposed to be existing. So the 30-foot setback really pertains to the house, not to the out structure.
And this is an addition. You're not tearing down the existing garage. You're just adding to it. And are you?
Yeah, I'll probably take down the intermediate wall so I can move between them, but yeah.
But the structure that's there is going to be added onto and then refinished.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. Minimal change to the existing structure.
Any more questions? Okay, I do have a question for Michael now. We sent out notices to all the neighbors.
Correct. The public hearing was established back in April.
Okay,
So it goes into the newspaper for the required, by code, however long it needs to be circulated in the newspaper, and then the 200-foot precedence is where we have a 200-foot circumference or diameter or radius of houses around him that we're notifying.
okay.
Yep. And actually, if you want to see that, show that.
And I'm aware of that because I've spoken to all my neighbors, and one of them was going to be here tonight, but
Okay,
didn't make it to speak in my favor. He's right across the street from me.
Okay, there's your mail out.
okay. And do we get any challenges to this proposal?
No.
From any of the neighbors? Nothing. Okay, okay. So I think at this point, we probably need to go into open discussion about this. I need, a motion and a second. That isn't me.
Motion.
Motion to go into open session?
Yes.
Do we have a
Motion on
second?
open session.
Okay.
Okay. Right. You want to start with ladies first?
Are you asking what?
What do you think?
I think we allow it.
I'm sorry?
I think we allow it.
Okay, so this is, okay. Do you want to tell everybody why?
I mean, there's already other houses that are encroaching on it. It doesn't make sense to be able to say no to the one person that's doing it now. His property was built prior to this code being established. And there are other structures that are far surpassing what his will.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it, like, the reason I asked you that about, I work in civil engineering, so I'm asking that question about the addition versus something new. I mean, to me, the house was built under the 30-foot setback. I almost feel that's almost vested, in my opinion. I have absolutely, you've got an architect on board, he's doing the right things. All the neighbors, nobody's voicing any opposition to it. I have no problem with it.
okay,
Yeah, I'm in favor also. And since this is my first board meeting, I did some homework so I had some of this. This is actually very helpful because some of that information wasn't in the first packet, but I actually looked through Google Maps at the other homes and noticed it right away. I was like, this one plat looks less encroaching than the others. So, and just from the views that you have, the trees, I mean, it's going to be a nice structure.
Yeah, appreciate that.
okay. So my viewpoint is the Board of Adjustments, we are given, whenever we start out with something like this, we have a starting point, which in this case are the setbacks. And our role is, rather than standing by an arbitrary number, we have to look and apply common sense and critical thinking to each situation to make sure that it's standing on its own. And as far as from what I see here, I wouldn't have a problem approving this. I don't think your neighbors are not, challenging this. I think you're doing everything you can. You're doing it the right way. You want to keep everything private and hidden, and I don't really have a problem with it at all. So I would also be in favor of it. So, is there any more discussion? Okay, all right. Should we motion to close?
Motion to close.
You have to motion to approve
Okay, we can go do that now.
Few votes.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Motion to approve.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the variance is granted.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time on a Friday and a holiday weekend.
No problem.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for the
you.
details too. That's very helpful.
Thank you.
And- Okay, that was our only agenda item. So at this point, I think we're adjourned.
We're adjourned. Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
That's.